In this episode, I'm going to be installing Audi S4 B8 seats. So in this episode, I'm going to be showing you guys how I transferred the B8 plugs from the B8 seats to the B7. So if you look here, there's actually no gap. It's not rubbing, it's not hitting, nothing. It's actually pretty close to what it was with my old seats. They're just a little tiny bit wider, but they fit, no rubbing issues. The only time is if you put it all the way to the front and all the way to the top, but nobody ever drives like that, so it's fine. The one thing I did notice is if you push it all the way to the back, you do get some rubbing here. That's the only thing that's bad, but that's if you have the seat all the way to the back. So for the plugs, this is the difference between the B8 and the B7 plugs. The wires actually go in the same place, as you can see, and they're almost the same color. So all I did was just match up the wires exactly how this one was, and I had no problems. Everything worked. Up went up, back went back, front went front, everything was good. So what we did here is we soldered the cables together. What I did was I went to a junkyard and I found a couple of the same vehicles as this one, and I found the one that was kind of the cleanest one with the easiest access. And I lifted the seat up as much as I could, and then I just cut the plugs off with about 8 to 10 inches of wire. I tried to get as much as I could, as much as I can reach my hand in there. And I got about 8 inches of wire, so it's not too bad. It's enough to solder them. What we did is we just unwrapped all the wiring, broke everything apart, did everything one by one. Do not cut all the plugs off at the same time and try to make it work. You're going to mess things up and you're going to wire things in the wrong way. So what I did is just one plug at a time. Just pay attention which wire is which. If you want the easiest way, take a piece of tape and label each wire. This one goes to this one, this one goes to this one. That way you won't have any errors. Everything will work out. The only thing I did notice is on the driver's seat, I have 2 leftover wires. And everything works. The heated seats work really well. Everything goes forward, backwards, up and down like it should. The lumbar support, I'm supposed to have 3 levels and 1 release button. The release button works, but the middle and the top work. The lower lumbar support for some reason doesn't work. So I'm pretty sure that's what I was missing on my old seat, and that's the extra wire that I have. So I don't really use that stuff, so I don't need it. So I decided to just not worry about it. So that's the only thing that you're going to have. You're going to have a leftover red wire and a leftover green wire, I believe. So I just wrapped those up in a little loop and taped them off. I didn't connect them to anything, and everything still works, except for the lower lumbar, like I said. As you can tell, I wrapped them, and then I wrapped them again until they were pretty solid. The tracks on the B8 S4 and this one actually line up perfectly. The hardest part about installing the seats was doing the wiring. And honestly, they all line up in the same areas, so if you can just manage to solder some cables together, the seats just bolt on just like the original ones do. And they fit exactly the same way as the factory seats do. So one thing I am going to tell you guys, if you're planning to do this modification, one thing I did notice is when I had my original basic seats on the lowest level, I was actually sitting about an inch lower with the factory basic seats than I was with the S4 seats. The S4 seats actually raised my ride height a little bit, which kind of feels weird, and you get used to it after a while, but it feels like you're driving a truck compared to your original seats. If you've been driving with those for years and years and years like I have, and then you get into these, it feels like you just got into a truck versus your car. So that's the only thing I didn't like about this mod. If you guys are doing this modification and you're just putting in the seats, so you just finished the wiring, connect the seat belts before you bolt the seat in. It's going to make your life a lot easier because you have more room and you won't scratch any of your panels. That's pretty much it for the install of the seats. It actually wasn't too hard. The only hard part was the soldering and the wiring, but if you can figure that out, it's not going to be that difficult for you. The seats to install take 5 to 10 minutes, not even to do, so it's 4 bolts and 4 plugs. It's not that bad.